We are about to head into 2026, and we need to reflect on what 2025 felt like for many Americans across the country. You see, the cost of living crisis has crippled the economy in America, and many people can't afford groceries, they can't afford to pay rent, they can't even afford their car payments, which is brutal. Not to mention healthcare. Every American needs healthcare. Many other countries around the world, they have either free systems or very affordable systems. Whereas here in America, we're paying another rent payment just to afford healthcare. It's ridiculous. Check this out.
Should I rant about San Diego for a second? I was raised here for a majority of my life. My entire family lived here for generations. And the way that locals are getting priced out is just something that needs to really be talked about more on a very serious level. It is just absolutely insane the price of everything now and how much higher it has gone and how much the quality has gone down. Like everything. Don't even get me started on SDG&E. SDG&E and I have beef. Tell me why my delivery fee is the same price, if not more, than what my electric generation is. And I don't have AC. Like I really don't use a lot of electricity at all. Why is my bill almost $400 every month? I don't know. I had someone come out here and look, and guess what? They charged me to have someone come out here and look. They found nothing. They're like, that's just normal. No, it's fucking not. Traffic. Why is traffic start at 2 p.m. and why does it go till 7? Good luck getting there. It's like you're almost imprisoned in your house between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And then if you want to go out after that, you better wait till after traffic after 7 p.m. Going out to eat. Prices have skyrocketed. Absolutely skyrocketed, which I get, like servers and stuff and like these businesses have to stay open, but it's gotten to the point where it's like I can't even go out and eat anymore. It's just so much money. And the quality has like significantly decreased. It's just like not even worth it at this point. Groceries here, absolutely ridiculous. And I like try and go to grocery outlet, or I try and go to Costco when I can and get what I can. But I mean, sometimes you have to just go to the other, like the Vons or the Ralphs, and it's just ridiculous how much they're charging. And then don't get me started on like gas, $5 a gallon, absolutely ridiculous. Rent. I live in a house. I've lived here for almost 6 years, so I'm very grateful that I have this price that I've been paying for almost 6 years, which is like unheard of. But if I were to pay the price that I'm paying now, if I had to go move, I'd be living in a studio or a one-bedroom apartment. It's just absolutely ridiculous how much everything is. And as I said, I grew up here. I know San Diego's always been expensive. Like it's always been really pricey. I get that, but it's just to a point now where it's like you cannot sustain living here. My parents had a house in Escondido when I was growing up, and it was a very nice house. They were blue collar workers, both of them were. Tell me why the mortgage was less than what I'm paying now for my house. That is a third of the size and a way less nice area. Tell me why. Jobs now in San Diego, they still think that like, oh, you're living in San Diego, you'll take the pay cut to live here. Okay, and that's just not sustainable anymore. That's just not. Like my boyfriend does blue collar work. Tell me why if he was looking for a new job right now, he was seeing jobs starting at 20 to 23 an hour in San Diego. That needs like experience. Like it wasn't just like starting, like that was like with jobs that need 5+ years experience. It is absolute insanity. I have a good paying job. He has a good paying job. He can't leave because that's what the other places are paying, fucking 23 an hour. But we just like can't sustain and live here long term. And I know that's like a global broad issue, not global, you know. It's an issue here if you are in San Diego. So I know I'm not an isolated incident. I just don't know how people are going to make it work like here on out. If you don't own a home right now, good luck ever owning one. They said you could be making $200,000-$300,000 a year, which is just like in my mind, I'm like, that's so much money. And you'd be hard pressed to like find a home in a decent area to live in. And listen, it might be different. I live in the city. Like I don't live in the county area. I used to live in the county, but it's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't live in the nicest neighborhood by any means. A lot of people would go far as say it's very not nice. Why is a house in my neighborhood going for $1.1 million? Why? If I had $1 million, I would not live here. Absolutely not. It just makes me really upset. I said it's a blessing and a curse to be born born and raised here. I was raised here, but it's a blessing to have been here and to grow up here and be in this community and the weather. You know, list goes on. But it's a curse because if I ever wanted to own a home, or get ahead in life, I would have to move. I would have to move away from family, and that's just like a tough pill to swallow, that I would have to do that. But I mean, honestly, that pill's getting easier and easier to swallow when I think of the fact that, like, anywhere I go, it is so crowded now, and it costs so much money. You leave the house and you spend $50 minimum. Like, you go anywhere, you have to get gas, $50. You want to go out to eat, $50 to $100, and that's like, I'm not going to fancy restaurants. No. You want to go do an activity on the weekend? First of all, good luck finding parking. Have fun in traffic. And then you're going to be paying that much money. It's like, oh, you can go to the beach. Okay. You want to find beach parking on a Saturday? Good luck. I've tried. I tried last weekend. It was miserable. You want to go somewhere after you get off of work at 4 or 5? Okay, well, you've just driven an hour home. And then unless you can walk somewhere, you're really not going to go anywhere because traffic is so bad. And then SDG&E. I think I've already mentioned this, but it's just SDG&E. That's like point blank period. Any cost of living increase I get, any raise I get, that coincides with how much money more I'm giving to SDG&E. So it's just not sustainable. It makes me upset that I will have to move away from family and friends and the life I've built here and the generations of my family that live here. If I ever wanted to own a home, if I ever wanted to get ahead, if I ever wanted to not feel like I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and it makes me really sad. So people that move here and they enjoy it for a year, like, I'm so happy that you get to enjoy San Diego. But paying these ridiculous apartment prices is not helping the locals here with that situation. And I'm not blaming, like, people that come move here. I'm more so blaming the corporations and the greedy landlords. Like, I have a great landlord, but there's so many landlords that jack up the price every year just because they can. There's so many corporations or wealthy folks or Airbnbs that just buy up single family homes or apartments or anything like that, and it makes it so the locals that want to live here long term, it just makes it so much more difficult. And yeah, they're building apartments. I'm sorry, I'm not paying $3,600 for a studio. I'm not doing it. That's absolutely insanity. Okay, I'm getting myself worked up, so rant over.
Hey, what's up, America? The price of everything in America is going up. So you guys want to know how much more you're paying? Because I have information showing how much everything went up in America. And anybody saying that there's no affordability crisis has their head up their asshole. So let's take a look at how much more you're paying for every single thing in America. So before we start, look at the key up here. We have food, rent, electricity, utilities, used vehicles, motor vehicle maintenance, and car insurance. As you can see from 2020 on the chart, every single item I just mentioned is up. Every single item. Look at that. It even highlights, here's utility costs. Here's the cost of used vehicles. Here's the cost of car insurance. Look at that. Here's vehicle repair and maintenance. Here's the cost of electricity. Here's the cost to eat food outside your house. Here's the cost of food at home, cost of your rent, and overall, here's all your items. Actually, here's a handy dandy little chart we can go over together. So we've got motor vehicle insurance is up 56%, gas utility is up 48%, motor vehicle maintenance up 48%, coffee is up 46%, electricity up 40%. Meat, poultry, and fish up 38%. Food away from home up 34%. Used cars and trucks 33% higher. Rent is up 30% more on average. Bread is up 29%. Housekeeping supplies up 26%. All items on average are up 26%. Yak is up 25%. Personal care products up 24%. Milk is still up 24%. New cars and trucks still up 22%. So that's what I'm going to call an affordability crisis here in the United States. So all those items I just showed you, all of them must come down. A lot. Negative numbers, actually. Oh, I didn't add this in here. Healthcare is up about 20 to 30% depending on what region of America you're in. So yeah, have fun in 2026 if you can afford fucking water and heat then.
So how are we supposed to save money if we're paying $6,000 to $7,000 a month in childcare? How are we supposed to save any money? How are we supposed to, because there's two schools. There's the people who don't work because they can't pay that, and then the people who are paying that and then have like minimal left over. Where's the money going for college? Where's the money going for retirement? Like, I'm lucky that mine's automated and I have a cash balance account, but like, where's it going? Where's it go? How are we saving for vacations? How are we like, if we're not doing it on a credit card, how are we doing this? Where's Susie Orman? Where's Dave Ramsey? Because these people, these fuckers have no idea what we're actually living in. They're like, well, you know, you should save up, buy a beater, never go on vacation, live with your parents. I'm like, that's not possible. Okay, so tell us how we do this. How do we save when we're giving away all of our paycheck to child care? And you know, if you have kids that are 5-6 years apart, this is going on for 11 years that you're paying these costs. So how do we do that? I need the finance advisors, not some 25-year-olds who want it big in a stock market, to tell us how to really do this. Oh, and then your taxes go up too. My taxes have gone up from $8,000 to $17,000 in 7 years. Didn't budget that. Homeowners insurance, because of all the wildfires, it's affecting us out here in Massachusetts. Didn't budget that. Like, what's going on? And then I just told you about summer camp. That's going to be thousands. Like, answer me, because I really want to know.
Only in America do you have to pay a fee to pay a bill. Only in America do you try to go to work while you're sick because you can't afford to miss a shift. Only in America do you avoid going to the doctor because you have to pay a deductible, even with insurance. Only in America do you have to choose between filling your tank and buying groceries. Only in America does your rent go up while your paycheck stays exactly the same. Only in America and nowhere else.
In 2 months, it's going to become completely unaffordable to live in the United States. And I'm not talking about luxury lifestyle. I'm talking about basic middle-class needs. I run a relocation business out of Costa Rica. I asked my clients, who are a couple from Bushwick, Brooklyn, why they were thinking of moving abroad. They sent me their monthly budget spreadsheet. So combined, they make $120,000 a year. And from that, they get to bring home about $7,400 a month after taxes. Their rent is $3,100 a month. And their health insurance is about to skyrocket to $1,750. They budget about $1,000 a month for groceries. Their utilities, internet, cell phones, and MetroCard are another $1,300 or so. So at the end of the month, this leaves them with about $250. And that doesn't include any unexpected expenses or the hope for investments or the hope for a savings account. So what they said to me is that this is what running in place feels like. And the reason that they want to move abroad is because they actually want to move forward with their lives.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k, because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck, and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, that car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make 75 grand a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, that's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian, edgelord mouth. That's not a doctor bill, because God knows just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors. People like to be entertained. They want to date. They want to... There's those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. And the fact that you would look at somebody with no debt other than a car and say something like this to them means objectively you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world. This is unsustainable.
So I came across this today. This was posted by Smart Asset, I believe. Found it on Google. And basically this is just a map of how much you need to live comfortably within each state in America. Now, this is what people don't get is the key word here is comfortably. Not live good, not take 5 vacations, not, I got a new Gucci bag, Birkin bag every month. You know what I'm saying? This is just to live comfortably. So to live good, you need to be making double that in every state. And the most expensive on here is Massachusetts, which is crazy. It's $112K. California, $114. The lowest is in West Virginia, and it's $76K. Yeah, that's crazy. But let me know what y'all think of this. Let me know if you see your state on there. If you can see your state, screenshot it or whatever. But yeah, this is just to live comfortably, not live good.
A CBS report highlights how many families are feeling squeezed by the rising costs here in America. Go figure. Essentials like food, housing, childcare, healthcare, gas. These are all things the American people are struggling to keep up with as the cost continues to rise while wages do not. In fact, a CBS report states that 50% of Americans, 1 in 2 Americans, say that groceries are harder to afford than they were just a year ago. 3 out of 4 Americans say that housing has become unaffordable in any community. The average cost of childcare for one kid is annually $13,000. That's the same price you would pay for a semester at a university. And this price is a 30% increase since 2020. I brought this up in previous videos how my own family has noticed this increase. Simple items that we were buying over the last few years that we have not changed are astronomically more expensive. This affordability crisis is not a Democratic hoax. This affordability crisis is not something that people just need to get over or even normalize. This is something that is truly hurting millions of Americans. Life is becoming unbearable for the vast majority of people that live within this country, and it all boils down to how much we are paying out of pocket just to survive.
This is why I feel like the cost of living has never been as bad as it is right now. Because it used to be when the cost of living was high, it was for the things that you need in life. Food, gas, shelter, etc. All those things cost a lot of money. Right now, all of those things still cost a lot of money. And also, I feel like it's just expensive to just be alive. Like, I feel like my life as soon as I wake up is literally just me putting down a credit card, and it's just a tab. And life is a bartender. And it's just like, what are you going to have? And I'm just like, I'm okay. I don't really need anything today. And it's just like, oh, really? Well, if you're going to be here, you're going to need to spend money. And I'm just like, what do you mean here? I'm just in the world. And it's just like, yeah, you have to buy something now. It's even getting to the point where, like, I feel like even my thoughts are getting expensive, you know? Like I could just have the thought of like, my nose is a little stuffy. And then all of a sudden, I open up my phone 10 minutes later and have 12 ads for like, oh, you have a pollen allergy and you got to buy these anti-pollen allergy pills or you're going to suffocate in your sleep. Sleep is the only place I still feel kind of safe. But even there, it's like I could have sleep problems for one night and then I wake up feeling kind of groggy and all of a sudden I'm getting targeted ads for melatonin gummies. It's like all of our necessities are still expensive, and then also just every increment of our life costs something.
So a lot of you have been asking me, what is it like to live in the US? So I'm going to do a series of videos where I talk about this because the US is not everything that they are telling you that it is. I'm just going to be straight up and honest from the beginning. It's not all what they're saying. So it's not all bad either, but I'll start with the cost of living because I feel like that's a really big topic. If you live in the United States, I don't actually care where you live. You're probably not going to be able to go buy lunch anywhere for less than $10, which is like 100 Rand. Like, you're just not going to be able to. When I was living in the United States, cost of living was literally so high. For example, you have a child. You need to send that child to daycare. Daycare that we were sending our son to, where he would actually learn the alphabet, like letters, numbers, that kind of thing, was about $1,300 a month. That's about 25,000 Rand a month. And I know you're thinking, oh, but you're probably getting paid so much more money. The average pay for someone living in the United States is, they say it's about $59,000 a year, which puts you at just under like $5,000 a month. I'm suspect of that number, very suspect of that number, because this is the thing. Also, when you live in the northern part of the United States or cities where it just costs more, you get paid more. So they're also like averaging those numbers in. So like if you live in New York or you live in California, you are going to get paid more money to live there, but it's also going to cost a lot more money to live there. So again, if you're looking at getting like an apartment in like Tampa, the rent was like $2,000. So you just took that $5,000, just under $5,000 that you had a month. Take $2,000 of that away because you need a place to live. And this is without paying for water, paying for electricity, anything. So you're now down to $3,000. Take another $1,300 of that and put it towards daycare because you have a child. And that's per child, not like couple, per child. So don't mess around and have children back to back, or that's going to be a problem. So now you're down to about $1,700 if you've only put one child in daycare. If you put two children into daycare, baby, you only have $200 left. And I already told you it's going to cost you about $10 a day just to get lunch. So you can't even buy lunch every day for the rest of the month if you put two children in daycare and you're making $5,000 a month. So let's say you only put that one child in daycare and you do still have $1,700 left. Well, now you have a car payment, and that car payment is about $300. And so now you're down to what, $1,400? And I know I'm saying $1,400, but y'all don't talk like that. But so now you have about $1,400. And after that $1,400, are you going to go buy food for groceries so you can make dinner at night? Because that's going to cost you about $100 a week at least, at the very least, for a family of four. And so really it's like $150. So let's do real math. So $150 times 4, what are we at? $600 a month for groceries? Yeah, because 300 and 300. So we have $600 a month for groceries. So take another $600 off of that $1,400. Let's do some math. So after $2,000 a month for the apartment, after another $1,300 a month for putting one child in daycare while you go to work to try to make money, after $600 in groceries, and after $300 for car payment and car insurance, you now have $800. $800. And you ain't even done nothing that brings you joy yet. Because after you have that $800 left, you now still need to pay for your electricity bill, which is going to be about $200 a month. So now we're down to $600. And you need to pay for water, which is going to be about another $100 a month. So now you're down to $500. You have not got your hair done, because if you get braids like this, baby, that's another $300-$400. If you get your lashes done, that's another $200. If you get your nails done, that's another $150. Like, y'all, you see how everybody's in the negative already? The negative. So I would say living in the States is extremely, extremely expensive, for one. And again, you still haven't bought a lot of things like this makeup that I'm putting on. You don't have it yet. You don't have it. You want to have internet? That's another $70 a month so that you can, be online doing things. You need a phone? That's another $100 a month that you're paying for this phone bill and this phone. How much do we have, you guys? I think we just took off $100 for the phone. We took off $70 for the internet. We was at like $500. I don't know. You see, the money is gone. It's literally gone. So when they say like, oh, you have so much money living in the States, the cost of living is so much higher. You know that car that you have that you're making car payments on, $300 a month? You also got to put gas in that car. And it's probably going to cost you about $50 a week. And guess what? That's another $200 a month. And you probably don't have it. So you're probably putting it on a credit card. So now you also have a credit card bill that you're trying to pay every month with interest. And I want you to remember, this is how much the people are making that are making the average amount of money, which most people aren't making this average amount of money that they're saying that people are actually making. But if they are, they're probably only making it because they have a college degree, which means they probably also have thousands of dollars worth of student loan debt. So that's another debt that they're paying every month. But again, most people aren't making this much money. And the people that aren't making this much money are probably making like $30,000 to like maybe $40,000 a year. And they still have these same bills, but no money to pay them. I'm saying all this to say, cost of living is disrespectful everywhere. Do you need to go to the doctor? Because you're gonna have a copay on top of the insurance that you've been paying every month. And your insurance that you're paying every month is probably, I don't know, another $100, $200. Oh yeah, because of taxes, I said you get like $60K a year, but you only take home about $40,000 to $45K a year. So you're actually only gonna get to have about $3,700 to $3,800 a month. So surprise, you've been broke.
Americans are so broke and they don't even realize. Now, check this out. Let's say you live in the US and you make $3,500 a month after taxes. I'm being generous. Rent, $2,000. Car payment, $500. Car insurance, $200. Health insurance, $200. Phone bill, $100. Wi-Fi bill, $50. Light bill, $150. Water bill, $100. What's the point of making more money if you don't get to keep any of it? Who cares if you make $4,000 a month if you don't get to keep any of it? 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that includes half of six-figure earners. 80% of you guys are in debt and don't own anything, and half of you guys don't even have $500 in your savings account. But let's call other countries poor and let's call other people poor. Living paycheck to paycheck your whole life and being in debt your whole life should be considered poverty, but it's not. And I know this is going to hurt a lot of Americans, but it's the truth. The US system wants you to spend every waking moment of your life working and paying into a system that will never benefit you. Slaving away your whole life just to be retired for a measly 10 years.
I'm going to explain to you guys how much more expensive things are today than they were even 3 years ago based off of my current financial situation. So 4 years ago, when I graduated law school, I graduated making $65,000 a year. I was living in a one bedroom by myself, paying $1,400 a month. After the first 3 months, my boyfriend moved in, and so then we were splitting it, so it was $700 apiece. But he lost his job at one point, and so for 3 months before he got a new one, I was covering the rent all by myself. So it was about 6 months of me paying $1,400 a month for that year-long lease. Now I make about $85,000 a year. I have 2 roommates, and we split the rent 3 ways. And usually my rent is like $950, something around that. So I'm making technically $20 more thousand a year. I'm paying roughly the same of what I was paying in rent. And I have never been more stressed out about money in my entire life.
Every time I think about or trying to move out my parents' house, the cost of living just get higher and higher. Like, insurance goes up, gas goes up, not to mention the fact that you got to make 3 times the rent of wherever you live at, which is kind of insane because the average person my age ain't even making what I'm making. Not to mention the fact that I check my pay stubs all the time. I'm not making as nearly as what I would make if they ain't take all them fucking taxes out of my checks every 2 weeks. Like, and I just been sitting here thinking, like, cause with me personally, when I moved out, I always wanted to move out by myself or with a significant other. And now I'm starting to realize when people move out, they get roommates. Or they move in college apartments with other people that they don't even fucking know of because the cost of living is too fucking high. How can I get a house these days? How can I get a house, bro? The average house is like 300 bands, you know what I'm saying? And like the average like monthly cost of it is like $2,500 a month. Like that's crazy. Like, and me personally, I never agreed with having to have more than one source of income. In my opinion, you having more than one source of income should be a choice. It shouldn't be, I shouldn't need 2 sources of income to fucking survive. I'm 23, bruh. God damn. I am fucking 23. And I'm already like having a midlife crisis for real. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to move out my parents' crib, but I ain't trying to live check to fucking check. Like, I'm sitting here making more money than I ever made ever in my life in a year's span. And it's still not enough for me to fucking move out and be able to fucking sustain a living. Like, we're doomed, bro. And they wait until we get grown to do shit like this. Like, yeah, it's over with, bro. It's over with.
2025 has been downright brutal for many of these people. See, in the videos we saw that people, and we've heard the people, share their stories about how they're being crippled by the American economy. Right now, people are living on the streets. You know, I saw videos of families of 4 and 5 living on the streets or living in storage units. And I'll probably have a few of those videos coming up soon to share those with you. But as we witness what's happening, this is definitely a new period in history in which we're seeing, in some cases, perhaps the downfall of America. All right, the downfall of the empire. And it's really sad to see what's happening here. That's why I try to keep myself afloat as best as I can. It's not easy here, obviously, but I'm making things happen as much as I can. And it's really depressing to see how these people are going through the struggle right now. But I can relate. I can totally relate. And, you know, this problem is just not contained within America itself. You know, even in Europe and Asia and in other parts of the world, they're also feeling the pain of inflation and what's going on with the general cost of living of goods and services, as well as rents and health insurances. But there is one major difference. You see, America, although I love capitalism, capitalism has been crippling families here even harder. Whereas in other countries that have socialist systems in place, specifically for healthcare services and childcare services, they're not really feeling the brunt as hard as Americans are. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that they don't have any stress at all. What I'm saying is, compared to here in America, where many families across the board are feeling the pain and the mental anguish associated with going through these situations, in other parts of the world, let's say, for example, Europe, they have many of their services either covered completely for free or at a very reduced cost. where it's not a huge financial blow for these families. So what I hope to see in 2026 is a turning point. I hope to see that perhaps President Trump and the administration can figure out ways to address these issues. Because you see, I think this was bound to happen, no matter if a Democrat was in office or a Republican. It doesn't matter. We saw this coming a long time ago. And I think the problem has been somewhat exacerbated by many of the financial changes happening globally, not just within the US, but also overseas. And then being that people are talking about an imminent war, that just complicates issues a lot more. So I really, really do hope that these people find a way. One thing I can do or I can give as a word of advice is to definitely try to find other ways to produce income. Obviously, saving money is a very difficult thing to do. So try to find ways to cut costs as much as possible. And hey, if you have to move to a new city, a new state, a new country, just to make things happen for you and your family, don't feel scared of doing it. Don't fear it. Okay, could definitely consider it, especially if you have young ones who depend on you financially. This is very, very important, and we need to keep our heads above water to make sure that we can weather through the storm. So, guys, make sure you like this video if you can relate to it, and also drop your comments below and let me know how you feel. Are you currently going through these situations? And YouTube thinks you'll like this video right here, so make sure you click it to check it out.